Pasadena, California, October 7, 1988. The Rose Bowl Stadium pulsated with the particular energy that emerges when 90,000 people collectively anticipate something extraordinary. The occasion was the United We Stand benefit concert, a massive gathering of musical talent organized to raise funds for children's hospitals across America. The lineup represented a cross-section of the era's most influential artists, but the unquestioned highlight was the promised appearance of both Michael Jackson and Prince on the same stage. A historic convergence of two artists who had defined the decade through their innovative approaches to music, performance, and visual presentation. At 30 years old, Michael Jackson existed at the absolute pinnacle of global fame. The Bad World Tour was breaking attendance records across multiple continents, confirming the unprecedented commercial and artistic success established by Thriller. His performance style had evolved into a seamless integration of vocal precision, dance innovation, and theatrical spectacle that had redefined the possibilities of pop concerts. At 30, Prince occupied a different but equally significant position in the cultural landscape. Following the mainstream breakthrough of Purple Rain, he had deliberately moved into more experimental territory with subsequent albums, prioritizing artistic exploration over commercial consistency. His live performances remained legendary for their unpredictability, virtuosic musicianship, and raw emotional power. The supposed rivalry between these two singular artists had been largely constructed by media narratives that found it convenient to position them as opposing archetypes. Michael as the global mainstream phenomenon, Prince as the boundary-pushing provocateur, Michael as the meticulous perfectionist, Prince as the unpredictable creative force. These simplistic categorizations failed to capture the nuanced reality of their relationship, the professional respect that occasionally bordered on obsessive study of each other's work, the shared experience of navigating fame at a level few humans ever encounter, and the unspoken understanding that existed between two artists who had dedicated their lives to pushing the boundaries of performance. Backstage at the Rose Bowl, an elaborate protocol had been established to maintain appropriate separation between the two headline performers and their respective entourages. Michael and Prince were assigned preparation areas at opposite ends of the vast backstage complex, each surrounded by their own support teams, security personnel, and the particular energy field that accompanies artists of their stature. The show's running order had been the subject of delicate negotiation. Prince would perform first, with Michael closing the show, a sequencing that acknowledged both Michael's status as the biggest commercial force in music and the practical consideration that his more elaborate production elements required more extensive stage preparation. As the evening progressed through preliminary performances, major artists in their own right who would have headlined almost any other venue on any other night, the anticipation continued to build. When Prince finally took the stage with his band, the energy shifted tangibly, 90,000 people collectively leaning forward in engagement. Prince's performance embodied everything that had made him a legendary live artist. He moved between guitar, piano, and pure vocal expression with fluid ease, his technical virtuosity always in service to emotional communication rather than mere display. The setlist balanced crowd-pleasing hits with more challenging material, creating a dynamic arc that demonstrated his range as both composer and performer. Throughout the Rose Bowl, the audience response reflected the particular power of witnessing Prince at the height of his abilities. Moments of hushed reverence during intimate passages giving way to explosive release when the full band unleashed its collective force. Even those present primarily to see Michael found themselves drawn into the distinctive world Prince created through his performance, a testament to his ability to command attention regardless of context or audience expectation. As Prince's set approached its conclusion, he transitioned into Purple Rain, the anthem that had become his most universally recognized composition. Even in the massive setting of the Rose Bowl, the song created an atmosphere of collective intimacy, its emotional arc building with a deliberate patience that drew the audience deeper into its world with each musical development. What no one in the audience knew, what even most of the production team was unaware of, was that Michael Jackson had made an uncharacteristic decision to watch a portion of Prince's performance. Despite his usual pre-show ritual of isolation and focused preparation, he had positioned himself in a private viewing area with sightlines to the stage, accompanied only by his longtime choreographer and security director. Michael's interest wasn't casual entertainment but professional study. The attentive observation of another master artist approaching similar creative territory through a distinctly different methodology. Those with him noted his complete focus as he watched Prince command the stage, his expression revealing neither jealousy nor dismissal but genuine engagement with another innovative approach to performance excellence. It was during Prince's extended guitar solo in Purple Rain, the emotional centerpiece of an already powerful performance, that the evening's defining moment began to unfold. Prince had built the solo with characteristic patience, each phrase developing from the previous with organic inevitability, the narrative quality of his playing transforming technical virtuosity into pure emotional expression. As the solo approached its climax, Prince executed a series of ascending notes that seemed to defy the physical limitations of his instrument, each tone more piercing and emotionally charged than the last. The progression built with a tension that held the entire stadium in collective anticipation, every person present instinctively understanding they were witnessing something approaching transcendent artistic expression. The final note of this ascending sequence cut through the Rose Bowl's vast space with supernatural clarity, a single pure tone that seemed to continue rising even after reaching a pitch that should have been beyond the guitar's range. Prince held this note with perfect sustain, his body arched backward as if physically channeling the sound, his expression revealing the particular vulnerability of an artist completely surrendered to their creative moment. In his private viewing position, Michael Jackson's response was visible only to his two companions, but it spoke volumes about his genuine appreciation for exceptional artistry regardless of constructed narratives of competition. He stood perfectly still, his attention completely focused on the stage, his expression revealing the rare, unguarded response of one master recognizing another's exceptional achievement. "That's why he's Prince," Michael said quietly, the simple statement containing both professional assessment and personal appreciation. Then, with the subtle shift that those closest to him recognized as his transition from private person to performance preparation, he turned to his choreographer. "We need to adjust the opening. Tell the band." What Michael had recognized in that moment, what his experienced performer's intuition had immediately processed, was that Prince's exceptional performance had fundamentally altered the energy in the Rose Bowl. The audience had been elevated to a particular state of heightened engagement that required acknowledgement and response rather than the standard execution of a prepared show, regardless of how excellent that show might be. If the story moves you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more moments that define these legendary artists' journeys. As Prince concluded his set to thunderous applause and began his exit from the stage, Michael's team was already implementing the adjustments he had requested. Subtle but significant changes to his entrance and opening sequence designed to acknowledge and build upon the heightened state Prince had created rather than simply imposing his own prepared performance structure. The transition between performances was managed with the meticulous attention to detail that characterized major stadium productions. As Prince's equipment was efficiently cleared, Michael's elaborate stage set was revealed. A technological marvel of moving platforms, sophisticated lighting, and visual elements designed to frame and enhance his distinctive performance style. When the stadium darkened for Michael's entrance, the anticipation had built to an almost unbearable intensity. 90,000 people collectively held their breath, waiting for the appearance of the most famous entertainer on the planet, now contextualized by the exceptional performance they had just witnessed from Prince. Michael's entrance was a masterclass in theatrical precision, emerging from beneath the stage in a cloud of atmospheric fog, holding a pose of perfect stillness for 8 counts before exploding into movement precisely synchronized with the opening musical phrase. The audience response was seismic, a wall of sound that seemed to physically press against the stage. What followed was Michael Jackson at the absolute height of his powers. The seamless integration of vocal performance, innovative dance, and theatrical presentation that had made him the defining live performer of his generation. Each element was executed with the meticulous precision that characterized his approach, yet there was nothing mechanical or routine in the delivery. Every movement, every note, every moment of audience connection carried the full commitment of an artist completely engaged with the present performance rather than merely reproducing past successes. The adjusted opening sequence, visible to those familiar with his standard show but imperceptible to most of the audience, created a perfect response to Prince's performance without directly referencing or imitating it. Where Prince had built his connection through raw emotional intensity and instrumental virtuosity, Michael created his through precision, visual innovation, and a different but equally powerful form of emotional authenticity. As his performance progressed through carefully sequenced segments designed to showcase different aspects of his artistry, Michael maintained the heightened energy established in his opening. His dance sequences, particularly those featuring the distinctive isolation techniques and gravity-defying movements that had become his signature, generated responses that matched the intensity of Prince's guitar solos, the physical virtuosity creating the same sense of witnessing something beyond ordinary human capability. The emotional center of Michael's performance came during his rendition of Man in the Mirror, the anthem of personal and social transformation that had become increasingly central to his artistic message. Stripped of the elaborate production elements that characterized other segments, this performance focused on the pure communication between artist and audience, Michael's vocal delivery carrying a vulnerability and emotional directness that created a perfect counterpoint to the technical precision of his dance-centered numbers. What happened next transformed an already extraordinary evening into something that would be discussed in reverent tones by those present for decades to come. As Michael built toward the song's emotional climax, reaching the key modulation that typically marked the transition to its most powerful section, something unexpected occurred on stage left. Prince, who most assumed had already departed the venue, appeared at the edge of the performance space. Not in the spotlight but clearly visible to both Michael and a significant portion of the audience. He carried his guitar, the same instrument that had created such magic during his own performance earlier. The appearance was so unexpected, so contrary to the carefully controlled environment of a Michael Jackson performance, that many in the audience initially thought they were seeing a planned theatrical element rather than a genuine spontaneous development. Security personnel moved with professional uncertainty, caught between protocols for maintaining performance integrity and recognition that this was clearly an artist rather than a random intruder. Michael, in the midst of one of his most emotionally demanding songs, registered Prince's presence without breaking his performance focus, a testament to the exceptional performance discipline he had developed throughout his career. Those watching closely observed a microscopic shift in his expression. Not confusion or displeasure but recognition of an unplanned variable that required professional integration. As the musical transition completed and Michael prepared to deliver the final, most powerful section of Man in the Mirror, he made a decision that revealed both his confidence as a performer and his genuine respect for Prince as a fellow artist. With a subtle hand gesture that most of the audience didn't register but his band immediately understood, he created space in the arrangement. A musical opening that acknowledged Prince's presence and invited contribution rather than ignoring or rejecting the unexpected development. Prince recognized this invitation instantly, stepping further onto the stage and bringing his guitar to playing position. Without verbal communication, without rehearsal or planning, two of music's most innovative artists began to create something that transcended their individual performances to become a genuine artistic communion. Prince's guitar added a new dimension to the song's arrangement, not competitive or disruptive but complementary, his distinctive instrumental voice finding perfect harmonic and rhythmic placement within the existing structure. Michael, responding to this addition with the intuitive musical sensitivity that underlay his more visible performance abilities, adjusted his vocal approach to create space for this new element while maintaining the emotional integrity of the song. What emerged was described by Rolling Stone's critic, who was present that night, as one of those rare, perfect moments when artificial barriers dissolve and music returns to its essential purpose, the creation of genuine human connection through shared emotional truth. The audience, already elevated by the exceptional individual performances they had witnessed, responded to this unexpected collaboration with a depth of engagement that transcended ordinary concert reactions. Throughout the Rose Bowl, people who had come to be entertained found themselves moved in a more fundamental way by this authentic moment of artistic communion. As Man in the Mirror built toward its conclusion, the synergy between Michael's vocals and Prince's guitar created something neither could have achieved alone. A musical statement that honored both their distinctive artistic approaches while transcending the limitations of either. Michael's voice soared with emotional intensity. Prince's guitar responded with perfect complementary phrases, neither overshadowing the other, but each elevating the combined expression. The song's final crescendo, Michael's voice ascending to its full power while Prince's guitar provided harmonic and melodic counterpoint, created a moment of perfect artistic balance between their different but equally powerful approaches to musical communication. The Rose Bowl became a unified field of appreciation, 90,000 people collectively witnessing something beyond entertainment, beyond even exceptional performance. A genuine dialogue between two singular creative forces finding unexpected harmony in their distinct expressions. As the final notes faded and the audience response built to a roar that seemed to physically shake the stadium, Michael and Prince acknowledged each other with a gesture that cut through all the constructed narratives of rivalry and opposition. A simple nod between artists that contained recognition of shared territory at the highest elevation of their craft. Prince exited as he had entered, without fanfare or extended acknowledgement, leaving Michael to complete his planned performance. But something had fundamentally shifted in the atmosphere of the Rose Bowl. The remaining songs in Michael's set were received not just with the appreciation due exceptional entertainment, but with the deeper engagement of an audience that had witnessed something transcendent. A moment when artificial divisions dissolved to reveal the universal connection beneath. If you've been moved by this glimpse into a legendary moment between two musical icons, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Together, we keep alive the memory of these rare instances when artistic brilliance transcends expectation to create something truly unforgettable. In the days and weeks that followed, the United We Stand benefit at the Rose Bowl became a subject of reverent discussion throughout the music industry and beyond. Though no official recording of the spontaneous collaboration was ever released, both artists being notoriously protective of controlling their documented performances, bootleg audio captured by audience members circulated widely, its imperfect quality somehow enhancing rather than diminishing the authentic power of what had transpired. Music journalists struggled to find language adequate to describe not just the exceptional quality of both individual performances, but the unprecedented moment of connection that had transcended the artificial narrative of rivalry that had surrounded these two innovative artists for so much of their careers. Cultural commentators noted how the spontaneous collaboration had demonstrated something profound about artistic greatness, that at its highest level, it transcends competition to become conversation, each distinctive voice recognizing and honoring the value of different approaches to shared creative territory. For the artists themselves, neither of whom ever directly addressed the Rose Bowl moment in interviews or public statements, the evening represented something both simpler and more profound than the mythology that quickly surrounded it. In rare, unguarded comments years later, those closest to both Michael and Prince would suggest that the collaboration had affirmed for each the fundamental truth that genuine artistic excellence exists beyond categories, comparisons, or constructed narratives, that it resides in the authentic integration of technical mastery and personal truth, expressed with complete commitment. The children's hospitals that benefited from the United We Stand concert received not just the planned financial support, but an unexpected secondary benefit. 4 decades afterward, patients and their families would hear first-hand accounts from staff members who had been present at the Rose Bowl that night, the storytellers still visibly moved by the memory of witnessing two singular artists find common ground in their shared commitment to the transformative power of music. Perhaps the most telling perspective came from a young musician who had been in the audience and would later become a significant artist in his own right. What I witnessed wasn't just two legends sharing a stage, he observed in a retrospective interview years after the event. It was a moment when all the artificial boundaries fell away, between different styles, between supposed rivals, between performer and audience. And all that remained was the pure connection that represents music's highest purpose. For those few minutes, everyone in that stadium was united in something that transcended entertainment to become genuine communion. And in that observation lies perhaps the truest understanding of what transpired at the Rose Bowl on that October night in 1988. A rare alignment of exceptional talent, authentic artistic purpose, and the particular magic that emerges when genuine creative expression transcends all categories and comparisons to touch the universal human experiences that connect us all.